Yesterday, Trump had a joint press avail with King Friday of Sweden.
Stop it. It was the Prime Minister, Stefan Löfven.
Yes, him
Löfven from Sweden.
And Trump remarked upon Gary Cohn's passing, as well as on his tariffs and how the U.S. has been treated by the EU. Trump saying that, look, everybody still wants to work at the White House.
No, you know what? Everybody wants a piece of me,
Yeah.
or a piece of this.
Yeah. The White House has tremendous energy. It has tremendous spirit. It is a great place to be working. Many people want every single job. You know, I read where, maybe people don't want to work for Trump. And believe me, everybody wants to work in the White House. They all want a piece of that Oval Office. They want a piece of the West Wing.
Yeah, they want a piece.
And not only in terms of it looks great on their resume, it's just a great place to work. It's got tremendous energy. It's tough. I like conflict. I like having two people with different points of view, and I certainly have that. And then I make a decision. But I like watching it. I like seeing it, and I think it's the best way to go. I like different points of view.
And on the EU, as it pertains to this prospective possible trade war?
The European Union has not treated us well. And it's been a very, very unfair trade situation. I'm here to protect, and one of the reasons I was elected is I'm protecting our workers, I'm protecting our companies, and I'm not going to let that happen.
Yeah, one of the reasons we have Steve Moore on each week is to address issues like this, both personnel and policy, and we're pleased to be joined by Heritage Foundation economist, CNN senior economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for joining us. Gary Cohn, good riddance, right?
Well, look, I was not in favor of Gary Cohn when he got the job. I mean, he was actually a Hillary Clinton supporter, so it was a bit of a shock to the system. But I have to say, I will give him high marks. I mean, he was the one who was able to help Trump shepherd through the crown jewel of his presidency, which is, of course, the tax cut. I think he's been a steady hand, and so I'd give him high marks. And look, he's been the economic director for Trump, and we've had a booming economy for the last year. I mean, what president, they said on CNN last night, what president in modern times has had a better first year than Trump when it comes to the economy, the stock market, jobs, and so on. So, but it's not unexpected, by the way. I mean, there was always a whispering campaign that Gary Cohn was going to leave, sometime early in 2018, especially after the tax cut was passed. And so I'm not shocked by this news. And now my main purpose in life is to make sure that Larry Kudlow is the next NBC director.
There it is. Larry Kudlow.
All right, well, before we get to the greatness of Larry, I mean, Cohen's exit. I mean, could Cohen's...
Amy, I will tell him you said that because
yes.
I'm getting together with him later today. But look, Larry would be such an asset for Trump. I mean, there's no better communicator of the economic message than Larry Kudlow. Also he's liked by all members of Congress, even Democrats. I mean, I think he could serve Trump really well.
He's not one of these Wall Street rent seekers, which we would need to get away from.
Good point. This will be the first time in a long, long time we won't have a Goldman Sachs guy running the country.
Exactly.
So isn't it amazing? The Republicans always turn to the Goldman Sachs people to run the economy, and whether it was Paulson or Robert Rubin, and now we had Gary Cohn, and it's funny how no matter what happens in the country, Goldman Sachs always comes out smelling like a rose.
All right, but could Cohen's they were describing him as a rare talent, a stabilizing force. Could his, exit have a ripple effect from the White House to Wall Street?
Well, yeah. I mean, overnight, there's a lot of nervousness right now. I mean, look, if Peter Navarro is chosen, and I don't think he will be, and I know Peter, I consider him a friend, but I just think he's completely wrong on trade, and I think he would really give the financial markers the heebie-jeebies. So that would be a bad choice. I think Larry's up there in consideration. I think that another possibility would be Mick Mulvaney, who's now the budget director. There's some talk of maybe going with a CEO of a major company like Fred Smith of FedEx, somebody who's close to Trump. So look, I think the market has overreacted to Cohn leaving. There's plenty of good people that Trump could pick, but of course we're all hoping and praying that it's Larry Kudlow.
And I know where you are on this issue. You're in the same place as I am. A study came out projecting the impact of Trump's trade tariffs were they to be implemented and extended. And the tariffs on 25% tariff on steel, 10% on aluminum. projecting that it could create as many as 33,000 jobs in the steel and aluminum producing sector and cost about 175,000 jobs in the steel and aluminum using sector. So it's a net minus of about 145,000 jobs, which is not good.
So, it's interesting, as you guys know, I am from the Chicago area, and I remember when I was a kid, maybe, around 10 to 11, 12 years old. So that would have been around 1970, early 70s.
Were you wearing a Loop T-shirt?
Yeah, that was that.
Were you wearing?
I had the bell-bottom jeans too,
Yep.
but I was good. I was good looking back then. But anyway, I remember my one time we took a trip to Michigan, to Detroit area, and we went to the Kellogg's factory. We went to a steel mill, an auto factory. I remember it's indelibly sketched in my mind that I remember looking at the steel factory. Oh my God, I can't be. It was like a sweatshop, with thousands of workers doing drudgery, carrying heavy equipment and things like that. If you go in a steel mill today, it's nothing like it was 40 years ago.
Right.
Whereas there used to be 1,000 workers, maybe there's 100, and they're doing more diagnostic equipment, and so much of it is automated. My point is that what's really caused the reduction in the steel employment in the country hasn't really been trade. I mean, it's somewhat trade, but it's been automation, and we're moving towards, robotics and so on. So the idea that these steel jobs are going to be here 10 years from now or 20 years from now is a fantasy. I think, the future is obviously technology and brain work and things like that. So that's something to think about. Now, may I play the devil's advocate for a minute?
You may.
And defend Trump. And as you know, look, I'm a free trade guy. I get it. But I'm going to make a point to you, and I want your guys' reaction. I traveled with Trump throughout the campaign, and we went to states like Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, places like that Trump, won, and surprisingly crashed through that blue wall and won a lot of these blue-collar unionized workers. And I would submit to you that if Trump had taken a conventional free trade position that Republicans normally take, Hillary Clinton would be president today. In fact, I don't have any doubt in my mind that the trade issue where Trump said, look, I'm going to keep the factories here in the United States. We're not going to let all these, low-priced, imports in from China. That played with a lot of these, workers. And so Trump is keeping his word right now. I mean,
I understand.
He told the American people, right?
Yeah,
okay,
totally
so
agree.
now I want you guys' response.
Well, let me give you this response. I mean, I totally agree. That's what he said. That's what he said for decades. I'm not surprised by these policies. It doesn't make it the right policy, but politically,
right.
there are constituencies, as there's always constituencies for giveaways or protection.
That's true.
So let me ask you this: if you think the timing of this could be like, why the timing of this now? Well, this is sort of below the fold. It's a little bit inside baseball, but there is a special election on Tuesday in Pennsylvania 18, and this is like base camp for Trump. And if the Republican loses that special election, that starts to portend, and the narrative gets restarted that we're looking at heavy losses come November, and so the timing of this to help demonstrate a promise made and a promise kept for the purposes of holding that seat in Pennsylvania. What do you think about that?
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's a great point, and we'll see who wins that point. I mean, look, Democrats have been winning a lot of these special elections. They're fired up. They're energized, much the way Republicans were, after 2 years of Barack Obama's presidency, where we wiped Democrats off the board. So, I'm not optimistic about Republicans' chances of winning these special elections because, Democrats are going to turn out big time for these races. But look, and ultimately, when it comes to the 2018 elections, and much more importantly, the 2020 elections, it will be determined by how well the economy is doing. If the economy is doing anywhere near as well as it is, today, 2.5 years from now, Trump will be reelected with 40 states. I mean, it is the economy, stupid, and we've got an economy that's firing on all cylinders. Now, look, I agreed with the Wall Street Journal editorial a couple of days ago. As you know, I worked there for 10 years, but, they put it really well. Why would we do tariffs now? I mean, the economy is so strong. Mm-hmm. We don't have a shortage of, factory jobs right now. We don't have enough workers to fill the factory jobs. I mean, when I talk to people who run companies, they say, I can't find the workers to fill them. So why do we need steel tariffs?
Well, because it's politics, stupid, right now. That's what
right.
I think.
I think that's right. Yeah, I agree.
All
this is politics, but look, isn't it nice, though? I have to say, we actually have a president who actually fulfills his campaign promises. That's a kind of unique thing.
He is Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, CNN senior economist, former Trump campaign advisor. Steve, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys. Have a great week.
You
Take
too.
care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.